Morning, everybody. Can you hear me okay? Okay. If you have, because I like to, sometimes I speak a little bit softer, but when I start to shout, sometimes I lose my flow a little bit. So if you have, if you couldn't hear, then please come sit up a little bit. And then, but I'll try to speak up as much as I can. Um, so we're here for the shifting limiting beliefs for high achievers. So I just want to share with you what I've done over the years and how I work with my clients. And so, um, I started this because I got into this type of practice because I was sick for many years. Um, my health was getting bad, chronic health issues, just various life challenges in my life that kind of brought me on this path. So about 14 years ago, I started to learn all kind of energy healing modalities. I studied about hypnotherapy and NLP probably back like 30 years ago, and then I had to look for different answers. So I studied different energy healing systems like your method, body talk, vortex healing, EFT. I was flying around the world learning the different energy. Spring Force Qigong is one of them. So those are some of the energy healing modalities I studied. And then it's just all to heal and to see why I was in balance. So during the journey of healing, I came up with some top techniques. In this book, I have about 17 techniques that I use repeatedly. I was hoping to give you slides of the screenshots of this book, but I couldn't get it up today. So I'm just gonna share with you like at least 4 or 5 techniques from this book, and then you can use it, especially for dealing with complex issues, difficult clients. How many of you currently want to work with a high achiever, or you maybe a high achiever yourself, and maybe stuck with some aspects of life? Okay. So I like to do my classes just very, very practical and do a lot of experiential exercises to show you how it works. Does anybody want to shout out what kind of limiting beliefs that you might have or you might have seen that's common? Anybody want to share? Imposter syndrome. Okay. Anyone else? I'm not doing enough. Okay.
We're not good enough.
I'm not good enough. Any, I don't know enough. Okay. I don't deserve it.
Do I have enough experience?
Do I have enough experience? Okay. So what I'll do is I'll try to fit in maybe 1 or 2 individual demos so you can see it on stage here, and then I'll do it for the group, for yourself, so you can experience it. Some of the beliefs you have, I already mentioned in the book, because even with high achievers, like one person that I worked with recently, he was a CEO with 200 people, and he was still dealing with I'm not enough, still dealing with insecurities. He has everything in life materially, but still not happy. When he's interacting with other wealthier people, that brings up all his insecurities, and he's not enough, he want to be like more like them, and he doesn't feel like they're giving them attention. Okay, so you might be working with very successful people in your life, maybe way more successful than you, and they still have the same core human issues. So why did I put this? It's because I spent the last 10 years in India doing a lot of self-reflection, meditation, and doing the work. When you're doing a lot of meditation, it makes you look at your mind, your beliefs. And when you're in India, it's common to find people meditating for 1 hour, 2 hours, 4 hours, 8 hours, longer. So if you start to learn to sit for a long time, your belief starts to come up. Your resistances toward life start to come up. And some of the things that you mentioned, imposter syndrome, and not good enough, not deserving, I cover in this Top Principles book. And I think some of the 3 or 4 of them already been mentioned. Another thing that's really important to know is we live in a Western society, and we're living in such a fast-paced society. In the East, they talk about the yin and the yang. Okay, so in the West, the yang is so much more valued than the yin. Okay, we have both yin and yang. The yin is the feminine principles of life. We all have feminine principles. We're both. We're not one or the other. But when we have imbalances in the feminine principles, that's when we have suffering. That's when we have anxiety. That's when we have chronic health issues. So one of the things what I do with clients, practitioners is to train them to learn to feel. We are very good at being up here, being very mental, and less about here. But if we learn to be more into here, your intuition is like hyperly extended. But to get to here, there's actually fears and resistances. Okay, because it's painful to learn to be vulnerable, painful to learn to be more sensitive. Everybody wants to be tough and strong. And there was I can't remember his name, but he was a pretty successful life coach and working with CEOs. He said that he was pro tennis player when he was a kid. His father said, we lost a match. His father said, "Suck it up, don't cry. I don't want to see any of that." Okay, so if you have this type of conditioning, if you're working with high achievers, they might have that type of conditioning that makes them not want to connect to their heart, not want to feel. And if you want to help high achievers, you want to focus on some inner work to connect more to your heart. And then if the deeper you could go, the deeper you could help them. Okay, so sometimes high achiever, like one person was on Oprah that I also recently worked with, and he had a chronic eye issue. And behind the chronic issues, if you work through the layers of the onion, you'll start to find these beliefs that you just mentioned popping up. And if you can address that, then their chronic issues also go away. So everybody could kind of sort of see this, like way back there, okay? This is the protocol in our book, and this is what I've been using for I don't know, for the last over 15 years. And what happens, this represents the layers of the onion. And you'll be working with different beliefs in the different layers of the onion. And what I'm doing here is I'm actually, when you see the demo participant up here, what I'm doing is I'm working through here, through the layers of the onion. And what I'm also doing is, is any of you familiar with muscle testing? Okay, all of you have learned some type of muscle testing. I mean, we teach it in a different way. It's muscle testing, but it's an intuitive, energetic way. So you could just kind of tune into the people and ask the subconscious, and the subconscious will give you information about that person. So the different beliefs in the different layers of the onion are stored in these different areas. These are some of the most common areas that conditioning is stored in. So you could work with somebody, like for example, I'm not good enough belief, or I'm not worthy. One session doesn't take out all the conditions because people have decades of conditioning, generations of conditioning. So this is also an opportunity for, if you want to work with the high achievers, it's an opportunity to do long-term work with them. It's not an overnight fix. I can't take out 40 years of your life in 1 hour or 2 hours. Okay, so this is a releasing process. You're releasing the layers of the onion. So far, so good, clear. Okay, so I'll demonstrate that, and then, I mean, if you could somehow integrate it into your own practice, I think it could be very helpful for you as well. Does somebody have a limiting belief that you want to be a demo subject? Anybody want to volunteer? You want to? Okay, come on up. If you could just hold on to the mic as we're talking, that would be great. So Can you just, you don't have to go into extended content, just your limited, like briefly, what's your limited belief?
I have many, but I'll just go with not good enough.
Okay. Yeah, it's turned on. So one thing I always do whenever people have a belief, check where the body's holding it. Okay? Pay attention to where the body's holding it. So just kind of internally scan, where does your body hold that response? It's held there, right?
Like in this area.
Okay. So this is what I always start with. I check with people where it's held. So another key point, if you're using this type of process, just understand the physical symptom is not where the energetic weakness is. The energetic weakness is where different areas of the body can hold where the physical symptom is. Okay? So the first thing I do is I'm going to start using the protocol here. And a lot of things that you'll see will come through is like how our ancestors impact our beliefs, our perceptions, and so on. So the first thing that's coming up, I'm intuitively doing intuitive energy testing, muscle testing right now using the protocol. So the first thing I come up is there's ancestors' fears. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm just by your intention, the process is follow your breath. Just follow the breath means just be aware of your breath. Okay, being aware of the breath is an energetic balancing practice correction. Okay, just follow your breath and just have an intention to let go of ancestors' fears. That's how you have to do. Okay, so I'm going to continue working through the different layers of the onion. Now, what's coming up is ancestors' grief. Okay, so follow the breath, let go of ancestors' grief. Follow the breath, let go of ancestors not feeling safe. Okay, follow the breath, let go of ancestors not feeling safe. Their conditioning made them feel not safe. So follow the breath, let that go. And then ancestors' response is connected to not feeling loved. So follow the breath by the intention, let go of ancestors not feeling loved. Not feeling loved. Okay? And now, when we have experiences in life, whenever there's stress, our body has a fight or flight response. And then when we have fight or flight, our bodies freeze. Okay? So I don't know if anybody was here last year. I had a little bit of accident. I got kind of bumped over by a scooter. You were maybe heard of it. So whether you have a big trauma anytime in your life, a small trauma, maybe that was a small trauma. I don't know. I went flying, but I had to go straight to a presentation right afterwards to teach a presentation, and I was okay to do the presentation, but immediately after the presentation, I can't talk to anybody because I had to process all that. So what in the West, what we're doing is that we have stress, traumas, but we never process. Okay, we just deal with it by maybe getting a drink, having a cigarette, going shopping, or eating. So that's why I call it the yin principle not being balanced. So in meditation and doing all these things, it teaches you to learn that you need to take time to process, whether through your own self-care practices or through a process like this that you want to process any types of traumas. If you don't process the traumas, what's happened is that the mind will play that story, that experience over and over. And you guys all know this because NLP, teaches all that. So you want to process it, and you want to learn. A key learning is to learn to feel the pain, be with the pain. One of the principles I talk about in the book is being patient with your pain. Okay, instead of running away your pain, try to do your best to observe your pain instead of quickly getting a drink or quickly, try to do something to distract it. Be with it. I tell my clients to if there's a nature area, forest area, if you can't meditate, take a walk in nature. Walk at the beach. Be sure to, and don't like where you're walking, get on the phone and just start being chatty, because when you're chatty, you're still not feeling your feelings. Okay, be in silence and be with that feeling. Observe it. Let it let it process, let it go. Because if you don't process it, then what's going to happen is that it's going to go back to the subconscious because the conscious mind forgets about it, but the wound is still there. And if the wound is still there, then later on you're going to have to process. Some people never process this stuff, and then it goes on for years and even decades. Okay, so that's why I would recommend that you do as a self-care if you resonate with that. So how does it feel at this moment?
It does feel lighter.
Does it feel different?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so let's give it a scale of 0 to 10. Like 0 is peacefulness, 10 is the highest. What number are you at now?
I feel like 5.
Okay, so now I am going to do this one of the techniques here in the book. It's called the inner wound technique. Okay, and it's also simple. It's following this protocol. So the reason I put up this protocol is because some of the participants here have said your work looks like magic, and I can't seem to get it. So we actually took in the time the last few years to put everything in a protocol, put everything in manual so that you can actually take the information and then apply it for yourself, your clients. So we're going to do the inner wound technique. So same thing, but this time the process is a little different. Okay, it's just by intention. I want you to, because a lot of stuff is unconscious. You just want to feel and touch into the inner wound. You don't have to know what the story, what it is. Your subconscious will know. So just by intention, then again, follow the breath, touch into any type of subconscious fears, and then ancestors' fears, touch into that, touch into ancestors not feeling safe, touch and feel into ancestors' responses connected to losing control. All right, touch and feel into that, losing control, not trusting ancestors, not trusting life. Okay. Not trusting life, again, there is a frozenness there. So it's just by your intention, follow your breath, melt any type of subconscious frozen responses. The frozen response is held in the heart. So follow the breath, let go of the subconscious response in the heart. It's held in the heart. It's I could have put cells and DNA. It's also in your cells and DNA. So follow the breath, let go of subconscious responses in the cells and DNA as well. And then we're going to do a simple reprogram here. Again, we're using just the breath to do a reprogram. And you do a reprogram and just by your intention, say it to your subconscious in silence and just say, and follow these phrases. What if it's safe to trust more? Okay? What if it's safe to trust more? Trust life more. Trust the universe more. Okay? Trust there's an intelligence more. Okay, say that for you. Say that for your ancestors. That's part of your consciousness. Okay, what if it's safe to trust more? And then follow your breath. Okay? Okay, so notice what happens, and notice, you said that you were at 5. What do you feel at this moment? And you'll see that when you're doing this work with your clients, there's a, I talk about like physical detoxing, okay? We have tears that could come out, body heat that could come out. We have sometimes even, sometimes you might have also like a weird fever or whatever it is, okay? You can sleep. Some type of physical, if you notice some type of physical change, you'll see that in the East, they call it the karma is breaking. But in the West, they call it karma is conditioning. The conditioning, that strong, long-held belief is going to break. So when you experience physical changes, even though it's uncomfortable, that long-standing belief is going to start to shift. So don't get stressed out or worry that it's going to be it's a bad thing. So another thing, what if you are working with high achievers, make sure to prepare them that they are going through some discomforts as you're helping them do the do the belief change or talk about that up front, that if they're okay with that. And usually they're okay with that because how many people have heard the word healing crisis? Some of you might have heard of that before, right? So a person going through a healing crisis, there's a good chance that the practitioner did not educate them. Okay, if you educate them, then it shouldn't be a problem. Okay, you want to prepare people that they are going to go through some uncomfortable experiences, and maybe if they have a big presentation coming up or a big deal that they have to do, then maybe don't schedule an intense session right before their big project or whatever they're doing. Just find a time where they could process. That's what I would recommend if you're doing intense work for somebody. How do you feel now from Resilience?
First, I felt like it really increased. So it went from like a 5 to an 8, and it felt like squeezing. And that's when the change.
Yeah. Okay. So see, this is just going to the layers of the onion. So the next layer of the onion, in the East, and one of my principles I talk about, because we're all spiritual beings, okay? And being a spiritual being, we sometimes get lost in this physical world and we become attached to different things. Okay, money, all this success, fame, whatever we do. So the more attachments we have, the more suffering that we'll have. And these people that are successful, they're looking for more inner peace. There are great programs here teaching you how to do the business side, but the successful people come wanting more inner peace because they're suffering. So you want to help them, free them from their attachments. So one of the attachments is the fear of pain. So that's what we're going to work with you next. That's another principle from the Principles book. We want to, we just talked about a little bit earlier, there's a term called like a meditation in the East, they call it forbearance. Forbearance, we all maybe know that word. It's just like being able to have more tolerance and endurance and patience with pain instead of just running away from it or avoiding it or just do a lot of things to cope with it, okay? So learn to feel with it is learn to feel. Like you want to build up your endurance to observe your pain over time. Maybe right now, before you go get that candy bar, maybe you have to go straight there. But over time, you want to have more space and then be able to, like, say, maybe wait another 30 minutes, wait another hour, wait another day, or before you go and do your coping things. Try to see if you can observe and observe and be patient with your pain. So there's a resistance to pain from the ancestors for you. So we're going to let go of ancestors' fear of pain, okay? So follow the breath, let go of ancestors' fear of pain. Ancestors not feeling safe with pain. Follow the breath, let go of that. And ancestors not trusting when there's pain, when pain comes up. Okay, follow the breath, let go of that. And then so there's one of the part in the protocol, there's more details. Our tailbone has a lot of fight or flight responses. There's like tremendous fear, okay, in the tailbone. So follow the breath, let go of like ancestors' fears connected to terror and not feeling safe when there's pain. Okay, follow the breath, let go of that from the tailbone. So what I'm doing is that when I'm working with someone initially over the first few weeks, I'm working through like bigger chunks of conditioning, and over time, there are more like very specific fine-tuning of conditioning held in different parts of the body. Like I might address that same conditioning, like maybe not worthy or not good enough, and maybe the heart and the gut area, but later on, it may move to the face. Maybe later on, it may move to the bones. Different areas hold the beliefs at different points when they're ready to release it at that point. That's why when somebody says to you, oh, I've been doing this work or working on this belief for so many years, but the conditioning is stored in many finer areas. And in meditation, if you do a lot of meditation, you start to see that it's held in more and more subtler areas. Do a reprogram for your tailbone and say, for your ancestors, what if it's safe to trust more, even when there's pain? Or what if it's safe to have more love and compassion and kindness for myself, for you and for your ancestors, even when there's pain? So follow your breath there. So now notice how you feel. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it's gonna come, and it's okay, and just let it process. There's just more and more layers, and that's how this is the kind of the process of what I typically do. Okay. Yeah, thank you. Any questions so far? Any questions so far on what was covered?
You have your protocol in the book?
Yeah, the protocol's in this book. Yeah. Yeah, the protocol's in the book, but like if you already know muscle testing already, you could use the protocol and all the teachings here immediately. If you don't know muscle testing, the thing is that a lot of people come to me because they somehow got stuck with the way they learned muscle testing, and they just couldn't get it. Okay, you might be stuck with muscle testing based on whatever your own beliefs or conditioning is. Some people have beliefs about they're not intuitive. Some people have because earlier we talked about how your intuition is the feminine principle, it's the yin principle of life. If you've been made fun of for showing a little bit of vulnerability, then you might have developed a belief to shut down that side of yourself. Okay, so once you shift that, then you can learn the muscle testing, intuitive testing easily. I don't know if some of you might know Moss. Sarge is going to my practitioners program. If you know him, you could talk to him, and he said that he's been training with David Snyder for some time already. He said that he just gave me the feedback yesterday. He says that his intuition just went up and vastly. And he just went to a practitioner's program. Some people that do some individualized coaching, then I could really amp them up. And some people are actually getting insights that are actually you read in Eastern scriptures of intuition. If you could access that type of level of intuition if you connect with the intelligence here. Everything is here. Just want to check. Okay, so how about I do it for the group? Okay, for your limiting beliefs. So everybody just pay attention to where you hold your limiting belief. Okay, see if you hold it in your heart, in your gut, in your neck. It could be your legs, it could be your whole body, whatever your limiting beliefs are. Notice how your body holds it. And just like in the demonstration, when I say follow the breath, just be aware of your breath. So I'm tuning into the group here. Okay, and the first thing that comes up, ancestors' fears. Okay, so just follow your breath, just set an intention to let go of ancestors' fears from the body. Okay, now what I want you to do is to set an intention and let go of ancestors' grief. Now have an intention to let go of any type of ancestors' conditioning or responses with not feeling safe. Follow the breath to let go of that. Follow the breath and let go of any type of responses with ancestors not trusting life, fear of trusting life. Like there's, struggles made them not trust, or they had some bad experiences, made them not trust. So follow the breath to let go of those experiences. And now what we want to do is to have an intention to touch into any type of more painful experiences, like it could be your own or your ancestors' traumas. Okay, like I said, trauma could be something like a fall, or it could be worse, like abuse or something more difficult. So set an intention and connect to the unconscious and touch into that pain. Touch into that pain, touch into not feeling safe, touch into ancestors' resistances with not feeling safe. Touch into any type of ancestors' attachments. When they suffered and experienced pain, they created attachments. Touch into those, what's behind the attachments, just by your intention. Touch and feel into any type of like anger responses. Anger responses that they suffer, life was not fair, life didn't treat them right. Okay, touch and feel into it. Not they didn't feel loved. Touch and feel into that. Follow the breath. Let go of these responses that's held in your heart. You could just even, by intention, just like energetically kind of take them out from your heart. Like your own energetic fingers are grabbing any type of conditioning, negativity, darkness, and pulling that out from the heart. Pull grief and fear out of the heart. Any type of not safe from the heart. Anything connected to not trusting. And also, by your intention, you could pull it out from your bones too. Take out the responses from your bones too. Any type of ancestors' anger, also down in your bones, and then also your cells and DNA. And then I want you to do a reprogram just by your intention, with also your breath, and then say to your subconscious, to your body, to your heart, to your cells, your DNA, to your bones, and just say, what if it's safe to trust more? What if I could trust more? Trust life more. Trust even when I got hurt. What if it's safe to trust that that life loves me? That life is unconditional. What if it's safe to trust that? What if it's safe to trust that? Trust that more and more. Okay, trust that fully. So as you're doing that, and if there's any resistances come up, continue to pull out the resistances from your heart. What I'm also getting is there's some resistances held in the face. So also pull that out from the face too. Take that out, let it go from the face area. Let go of any grief in your face. Let go of any sadness held in the face. Fears held in the face. There's fears of being vulnerable, okay? When we suffer and we're dealing with our challenges, okay? Fears of being vulnerable. There's wounds behind the fears of being vulnerable. So touch into those wounds about connecting to the feminine principles of life. about connecting to your feelings. Fears of looking bad, being ashamed. Okay? Take that out from the heart. Follow the breath. Let go of that from the heart. Let go of that from your face. Pull out any type of responses held in the face. Let go of grief held in the face. Not feeling safe when you're vulnerable. Ancestors and the collective. Ancestors and the collectives were not feeling safe. If you're part of a collective that, they have to be always strong. And I mean, being from a Chinese culture, everybody's about putting on a strong face. If you go to China and here too, it's like putting on a strong face. They don't want to be shamed. So you want to hide yourself, your weaknesses. Okay. There's nothing wrong with like being strong or keep it going. But within loved ones, if you want to have a meaningful connection with someone, sometimes it's okay to have some vulnerability. Like with a person that doesn't have your mind, your best interest in mind, you don't have to be vulnerable, right? But if you want to have a loving connection with those that you care about, you want to have a little bit more vulnerability. Okay, so keep following the breath to let go of not resistances to being more open, having more vulnerability, opening your heart. Touch and feel into those resistances. Keep touching and feeling into those resistances and wounds, ancestors, collective wounds about being programmed that I shouldn't show any vulnerability. Okay. So one principle I talk about is accepting what is. So when we have a lot of thoughts like, I should be like this, I should be tough, I should be strong, I shouldn't cry. When we have a lot of should and shouldn't type of rules about life, very hardened, rigid beliefs, that causes suffering. Okay, so follow the breath to let go of your attachments to shoulds and shouldn't type of rules about life. Okay, if our system becomes very rigid, then we have more suffering. So follow the breath. Let that go from the heart, from the face, from your bones. Rules about I should and shouldn't. I shouldn't be vulnerable. I shouldn't, I shouldn't have emotions. Some people even are dealing with that. I shouldn't be emotional. So follow the breath, let go of any type of resistance there, and then keep following the breath, let go of grief. So we're going to do a reprogram for like being fear of vulnerability. So just with intention, reprogram the heart, cells, DNA, bones, and say, what if it's safe to trust, even if I feel some vulnerability? What if it's safe to trust, even if I feel some pain? What if it's safe to trust, to acknowledge that I'm going through pain? So if you or your clients are in denial and not even willing to acknowledge means you're simply shining the light to say, yes, I'm dealing with something difficult, rather than just, there's a lot of well-intentioned people doing positive thinking that shut other people up whenever people are kind of connected to their vulnerability. Don't think about negativity or don't be negative. That doesn't work because you don't fully process the conditioning. You want to fully feel and then be able to process, be able to let it go, let the emotions come out. So with some, business owners, executives, what they're doing is they can't even have tears. Okay, so part of the work what I'm doing is over time is to retrain them so that using this process, using the reprogram, that it's safe to have some emotions, safe to have some vulnerability. That's, we all know it takes, at least 90 days, sometimes to develop new habits. So, yeah, that's what you wanted to be aware if you have some hardened patterns of condition. How did everybody do? Any feedback? Anything you'd like to share?
Warm.
Warm?
Yeah.
Yeah. And your belief, did you feel your belief loosened up or feel different or?
Yeah, physiologically, I just felt like warm.
Okay. Okay. Cool. Okay. You want to share?
Body at first it was really subtle, but then we were tapping in. Because it started here, and then I started feeling it.
Yeah, one of the techniques here, it's called follow the pain. Every time you work on a different layer, the body is moving to another, the energy is going to another area of the body. And then just by one of the processes, follow the pain breath technique, just by, if you feel something, you put your attention there, and then if you process it, it could move to your head, it could move to your back, it could move to just, so within the session time, I don't know how long you guys are doing your sessions, sometimes I do 45-minute, 90-minute sessions, then within the time, I just try to do as much as I can in the time I have, or you could do longer workshops or retreats to help someone process. Yeah, that's one of the processes here that you just explained. Any other comments, thoughts, or you want to share? Yes. Yes, if you do feel strong sensations, you will feel some type of discomfort. So a key to keep in mind here is that if you are going through something painful, don't see it as a bad thing. It's something deep. If you have a deep belief, it's something deep that's shifting, and it's okay to be with it rather than like seeing pain as a negative thing. So yes, there could be something going down the line. I mean, this is a short session, but as we work on it, there's nervous system responses that we can go deeper on to work on. There could be wounds held in the conditioning, held in the nervous system, and then we could look deeper in there, sometimes in the spinal cord, different things like that. So yes. Did you want to share something?
I really like this protocol, especially with something like vortex healing that can invoke some powerful responses in the body. But here, instead of you just doing it for the person, you're having that, helping them to assist them to make the change. And again, to do it in these layers that they're involved in. And though, as you said, there can be some strong responses. I feel like this can really make them smoother way.
Yeah, great. Thanks for the feedback. So one of the techniques I call, it's very simple. It's simply, if you could read somebody's subconscious response appropriately, because everybody's subconscious response is like a combination lock. And by using the protocol, if you could read it correctly, then you're dialing in the correct responses, and then the issue just drops. That's why Moss, that went to the practitioner, said that it's a very gentle process. It's designed to be a very gentle, loving process. So, yes. Anything else? Any? Yes.
In your book, you're talking about your protocol, you're not talking about how to diet that level.
The book gives you some basics of that. If you really want to have me train you in the way we do it, everybody can learn how to do muscle testing on their own. There's tons of videos on YouTube, but we just do it in an intuitive way. And I spent a whole day training people how to do it, and then the practitioner's program is like 9 weeks. So in the past, I just launched the practitioner's program like a year ago, but even after 15 years, because in the past I only did like 1 day, 2 day trainings, but I never got to see people over time and help them make adjustments. But in the 9 weeks when I work with people, like they just pick it up. It's just kind of like if you're following somebody around for some time, you just kind of pick it up. Like Sarge, he came the first time to the conference and he went to the program and he just went into it and did a demonstration. We have an exhibit, by the way, so you're welcome to come by. You can check out these books, check out the techniques, check out the principles that I kind of summarized. The principles is like you could use it as a rapid clearing, like to dial into somebody's responses very quickly. That took me just thousands of hours to kind of figure out. So it's a very quick, intuitive checklist. And there's actually 30 to 60-minute sessions, demonstrations, like what I just did up here with that lady and with everybody here, like 18 demonstration sessions in the other book, the Principles book. So you could educate yourself that way. If you really want me to train you, we're happy to train you. Yeah. Yeah. No, I didn't schedule one this year. Maybe next year is possible. Yes. I mean, I still like I done pre-post, but again, it's like one training. I don't get to see people. I really like people. Really like to see people over time because there's an acupuncturist here that did a training with me. I taught them the process, but it was only like a 4-hour, 1-day type of training. And then I put him in the spot when he came last year, hypnotized. Hey, why don't you go work on that person? That person has some type of issue. And then he stalled because I didn't get a time to have him integrate it into his life. But if you could integrate this process in your life, then you'll see if you guys come up to the exhibit table, if I say, hey, what do you like to work on? In just like 2 or 3 minutes, you could do some of these clearing and resolve a pain very quickly because it's integrated part of your life. It's, you know, the what do you call it? Learning how to drive a stick shift car. So that's the idea. So yeah. Go ahead. Oh yeah, you're welcome. Thank you for coming up and having courage to come up here and do the demonstration. Yeah, I'll be here throughout the weekend. Feel free to come say hi and ask me any further questions. I mean, there's still 2 more minutes here, and I don't want to shortchange you.
So you're just using intuition to find the next layer and the next layer. You're not asking the person, you're just intuiting it.
Yeah, the question is, am I asking the person or intuiting it? Okay, so if you are already a very left brain or intellectual person, because Sarge is a physician, and when I work with when the left brain people learn this in the beginning, they're in their mind more. Okay, so over time they start to shift here, and especially if you are a left brain person, if you could learn the process, you can actually get very good at this. It's a system. It follows a strategy, and I don't know, it works. It works for me. So I hope it works for you if you are interested, or just learn whatever you like to learn over time. Yeah. Well, thank you so much.